Uh, Very good afternoon, all of you. On behalf of the FDP team, SKIT College, Jaipur, I, Dr. Achin Srivastava, Faculty Department of Mechanical Engineering, welcome the delegates and participants on the fourth-day third session of Atal-sponsored 5-day FDP on Industrial Internet of Things. Now, I request Professor Dheeraj Joshi, sir, Head of Department Mechanical Engineering, to kindly welcome eminent speaker, Professor S.C. Jensen.
Thank you, Dr. Achin, for giving me this opportunity. So, indeed, in this lovely afternoon, it's my utmost pleasure to welcome our most senior and eminent speaker of a whole schedule. If I can see, Dr. S.C. Jain is amongst us. He is the senior most professor and founder, head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Rajasthan Technical University, Kota. So, if I tell his career achievements, Dr. Jain has obtained his PhD from Computer Science and Engineering Department from IIT Delhi, and his master's is from IIT Roorkee with Electronics and Computer Engineering. So he has also a complete blend of electronics and computers. Both areas have been in his kitty. So he has served for 4 years in DRDO, because DRDO is a prestigious organization at Bangalore, and as a scientist, Dr. Jain has served there. And during this period, he has been instrumental in the working in the prestigious and national award-winning projects, particularly the Equinox Electronics Warfare Systems for Fighter Aircrafts, LC and Jaguar. And Dr. Jain has been serving the Rajasthan Technical University for the last 29-30 years in various capacities, including the dean, campus head, department head, etc. And I should also mention that under his supervision, there are nearly 30 MTech students have been benefited in completing their dissertations, and 4 PhD students have also been lucky to have his supervision at his academic office. Presently, Dr. Jain is a chairperson, Department Research Committee of Computer Science and Engineering, and Computer Applications Chairman, Board of Studies, MCA. And we academicians are known by our research interest. So obviously, his research interests include cloud computing, that is the topic of today's session also, and IoT, blockchain technology, and deep learning. So I'm sure the participants, a lot of participants are from the computer science background in our FDP, and they will surely be aligning their interest with the Dr. Jain's this today's talk. And now I request Dr. Jain to kindly enlighten us with the today's session talk on cloud computing, sir. Please, sir. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm happy to join all of you, and I start my presentation without wasting much time. So
okay,
I am sharing my PPT. So is the PPT visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So without wasting much time, let me start my presentation. So now today's topic of our talk is emerging role of cloud computing in IoT-enabled Industry 4.0. So we might have seen in other lectures that IoT devices are becoming very popular in Industry 4.0, and now how cloud computing is playing a big role in managing these devices and managing entire system. So I have outlined my talk in 4 parts. What cloud computing fundamentals to start with, then IoT ecosystem overview, and then industrial IoT and Industry 4.0, and then emerging role of cloud computing. And they all are in continuation, so you will not find the change, and they are in continuation one after the other. So let me start that why we need cloud computing. A person wishes to start one's own industry, so he has the two options: whether he wishes to develop entire IT infrastructure within the company along with the other equipments, or should he go for cloud computing. So this is one of the big decision one has to take, and then following points one has to consider while taking the decision. When he develops the entire IT infrastructure with the other systems in one's own premises, then he has to buy all equipments and entire system at his own cost and install in that setup. That is going to cost a higher pay and less scalability and a growth, because other industry will be filled with other equipments and other main equipments. So there will be less space for expansion or for further growing. So he has to pay a huge amount of cost, and that will not be, you cannot extend further. Whereas if you opt for cloud computing, then you have to pay for what you use. You can scale up, pay more and get more resources, scale down, pay less if you do not have, you have less resources. Normally we say when we want to drink milk, we do not buy cow, we only buy milk. So whatever the computing power you use, whatever the time you use, only that in cloud computing. And if you want to extend, you just pay more and get, without investing, without wasting much time and in expansion, procurement, this or that. Now on premises, if you will develop all huge space, allot huge space for servers, you have to keep a number of servers and entire infrastructure, wiring system, this, that. And whereas on cloud computing, you don't need any, no server space is required. That will be at remote place and remotely managed. Now, if you have to develop on premises, appoint a team of hardware and software professionals. Your main task will be something else or some other industry you are joining, but merely for the IT work, you wish to develop your system, then you have to appoint a team for hardware and software maintenance also along with other employees. Whereas in cloud computing, you are just paying for the services. You know, experts hardware and software maintenance, and simple one manager, one person is sufficient to take care of all this. And then poor data security, because whenever you buy a system, all software, including security softwares, you have to maintain, you have to develop algorithm, you have to manage the bugs in all of the software, and you have to invest a lot of amount in maintaining the security also of the system. Whereas cloud computing, this is remotely managed. It is a dedicated work for management of computer system or servers. So they have professionals, they are getting a good amount of business, they maintain good security, they make up-to-date secure systems, so that it is possible for their job is exclusively to manage this system only, no other purpose. So there are less chances of data recovery if use data and suppose crashes, so you do not have enough tools to recover them, or you are dependent on someone else, then only you can recover. And cloud computing, there is a disaster recovery arrangement they make in advance. If anything goes from redundant files, they can get the data. So these are some of the differences. Some more are, if lack of flexibility, once you develop a hardware, you allot some space, you cannot scale up, or if you don't need that much space, you cannot sell off. Once you have developed, it is you have to manage with that, or you have to, for increasing, you have to allot higher space and make all provisions. In cloud computing, it is a high flexibility. The resources available almost infinite virtually, because it is a of servers available at distant locations. So but managed by same application, so you do not know how much resources required and where how many are available. So on premises, no automatic updates. Automatic updates are not available on various things, whereas an automatic software updates from suppliers is already available in cloud computing. Higher version of even for PPT or whatever higher version of the softwares become automatically available. It is the headache, responsibility, installation, and making it up to date, or checking compatibility of the softwares is the responsibility of the cloud owner. And just user has to just check, and less collaboration in this because it is a single point of contact or single connection. So collaborations are less. Team can collaborate from widespread locations in cloud computing. The servers could be distantly located, even even in different countries also. They can also be managed for cloud computing. Whereas on single premises, when main job is not a cloud computing, the collaborations will be less. You will be more focusing on how to secure our data, how to make it run, and it will be how to make the other employees, hire employees of relevant field. So data cannot be accessed remotely if you have developed online on premises. So remote location of your organization cannot access data. Whereas data can be accessed and shared anywhere over the internet in cloud computing systems. Takes longer implementation time because it is a single place where people associated are less. So implementation also takes a long time. Whereas other places, there are a large number of locations where already systems are available. You have to just join. So in cloud computing, rapid implementation is possible because their main focus, main job is only to manage cloud. It is their business. Even today's industrial scenario, where like a group of I read somewhere that the multiple companies they are managing, like Birla Group, they have Simco or Mangalam Cement or like so many factories are there. So they said that everybody have HR department. So why can't we have a single HR department hiring for all? So because they are specialized, they are doing this job. So that is the trend becoming in amongst industries. The expertise of one industry should be used by other industries. Why not cloud computing should be separately managed, used by other industries? These are some of the benefits while when using the cloud computing. And if you manage without computing cloud computing, so in your premises with less space and less people, the some system will look like something like this. So many servers, these wires flowing from this side to that side, and managing it is a less managed system. If you before cloud computing, if you do now with having cloud computing in place, you have a set of applications, a set of computer servers, network somewhere, server somewhere, storage databases are also available, and these applications all can be accessed by application user as if they are available within our premises at less payment, not much headache, only using the systems. So this is how the cloud computing various systems look like. So having discussion with this, and a person who has to decide whether to go for cloud computing or self-managed IT infrastructure. So naturally, the one has to prefer cloud computing. You are right. This was if you discuss, then one has to always say that yes, you're right. Cloud computing is better than on-premises. So we will not have on-premises data IT infrastructure. Rather, we will go for cloud computing after having so many advantages. We always decide. So we'll see what is this cloud computing. Cloud computing is a collection of like a group of integrated and networked hardware, software, and internet infrastructure. So what happens here? A group of integrated group of systems. They are networked. They are connected to each other. Hardware and software of them are usable, and internet infrastructure is always available. So through internet, all are connected and managed by uses internet for communication and transport, provides hardware and software and networking services to client. So internet for communication and transport services is available to use these hardware and software networking devices to client. hides the complexity of underlying infrastructure. This is very important, most important. Hides complexity of underlying infrastructure. User doesn't know on which of the system my data is lying, where it is located. Only thing is a single application interfaces. That application joins the multiple clients other side, and wherever available resource, this data can be stored there or infrastructure can be used. So the underlying IT infrastructure from users. So hides the complexity of the underlying infrastructure from users. Allows applications by providing very simple graphical interface or API. So they provide applications or users an interface, graphical user interface or application programmer interface or set of routines. They can be used in one's application. So remotely you can join and use the services of the cloud client. Simple user interface they provide, and that is the place from where you can use any of the services. Provides on-demand services. So whenever you demand this service is required, that are always on, they are available anywhere, anytime, and any place. From any place, from anywhere, at any time, you can demand these services. Pay for use and as needed. Elastic. Elastic means as much you required, you can extend, as much you require, you reduce. Scale up and down in capacity and functionality. So in its capacity, you can extend, increase, or you can reduce, or whatever the less or more amount you are using, only pay for that much. The hardware and software servers are available to general public, enterprise, corporation, and business markets. So this is available to anyone who wishes to pay as per use, which is substantially lower than what infrastructure you have to use for using these services. So these are some of the requirements, some of the benefits of state what are the cloud computing, rather than managing files on local storage device. So this is the local storage device. If you manage one way to manage your file here, cloud computing makes it possible to save them over internet. This file, if you locally store in pen drive or hard disk, you can use it locally only. But if you store at the internet through server, you can use it at multiple locations wherever you want. It is maybe you are storing file through cloud at internet and a remote place, very far distance place, and the user, if you wish to share, he can also use this file. Secondly, cloud computing is the delivery of on-demand computing services over the internet on a pay-as-you-go basis. There are in laptop, there are multiple applications. These are available remotely. They are the latest version, and they are up to date. They are very heavy in size. They require good amount of time in running locally. Rather, so if you run them at the cloud server, they can be used, or the services can be used only pay-as-you-go basis. Updating those services every time on your machine, buying those services on every time on machine is not required. Only payment for use is required. So with this knowledge of cloud computing, let's see what is these what are the types of cloud computing we have and how do we use them. So cloud computing have two models. One is a deployment model, where to whom we will offer all this model, and a service model means so what are the services available to the user. So first one describes the type of users, deployment model, and the one describes the types of services they are available to the users. So deployment model, this is a public cloud. There are private clouds. There are hybrid clouds. Of course, we can make them for a limited. Public means open to general public. Private means it is limited to individuals. And you can have a big community cloud also. So limited number of users you can have, and hybrid cloud on mix of both. We'll see each of them. Similarly, in a infrastructure as service or platform as service and software service, these are the most popular 3 service models in cloud computing. We will just have a glance, we will just go through and we'll learn more about these type of services. So let us see what are the types of deployment model and that we can understand through this system, transport system like. There is a public, the bus travels for one place to other place, the state service bus or any bus. So this is a kind of public cloud where anybody accessible to anyone, one can vote in the bus and one can just pay very small amount of the service and one can vote in at any station and you can get down at other station. So it is being publicly used, a very less amount you have to pay, but restrictions are there that you have to go up to the service station bus stand place and you have to get down at another one bus stand place. Till that time you have to carry with you or luggage everything, and then from the service point where service ends you get down, from there you have to take. So restricted services are available, but available to anyone at very cheap place. So similarly, the public cloud also, this is available to public, but there are certain restrictions, certain limited services, or even if it is increased, that the payment is for higher, payment is lower compared to others, but the services of that quality, they are not exclusive for you. Multiple, many persons will be sharing, and whenever you get the chance, you can get. Then another cloud is like own a car. If your car is owned by a single person, the car will be available within your premises exclusively for you, and a car will be used less, but it will be secure, your private, and nobody else can use. Services will be exclusively dedicated for you. So private cloud is something like this. You have developed your cloud system and you retain or keep your files, your systems at in your server. Nobody else is using, and it is 100% available to you whenever you want. But there is a hybrid cloud, is like a taxi service. You use all benefits of private cloud or private owned car for the time you board in the car from your house and you go to the destination. You can use the services till your destination place. You don't have to walk down. You carry your luggage from your house and you take your luggage to the destination. And you only thing is that the luggage you have to vacate immediately whenever you taxi is there. Taxi leaves you and you have to take care, and then another taxi you have to hire. You have to come back. But the services are like your car, and it is for the time you use. So these are the types of deployment model, and accordingly you have to make investments. Of course, private cloud, you have to make more investment, but you are very secure and you are obtaining all services. You are using multiple distantly located servers at like you have it here, internet infrastructure. But public cloud is purely managed by others, and of course hybrid cloud also you can manage on this way. Now public cloud is this is like a public and multiple options are available. This is a like unlock system. It is a shareable storage for everyone, and the cloud infrastructure is made available to the general public over the internet. Is owned by a cloud provider. The service is like the Amazon Web Service, AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM's Blue Cloud, Sun Cloud. These are all public clouds. One can access, store database, store their services, and you can get the services. So publicly available clouds are there. Then private clouds, they have their in own organization. Organization doesn't mean that it is a single place located. It can be different cities, distant places are also available. So the cloud means it is managed at one place, but for multiple locations of the same organization, but to be used by single organization. This is entirely secure. Security personnel are there, and security is well maintained, the cloud infrastructure is exclusively operated by single organization. It is can be managed by the organization, or maybe a third party also one can hire, but it is they work under the private cloud or private cloud owner only. So may exist on premises or off premises. So AWS and VMware, they also this service also that privately it is dedicated resources available for your organization. Nobody will share at any time. Nobody will use it. Is dedicated resources, but you have to pay. You have to pay. You have to pay for the entire service, isn't it? For the resources blocked by you will not be shared by others. And hybrid clouds uses the benefits of both. It consists of functionalities of both public and private cloud. They reserve the space that I am using for this much time, so much of cloud. So for 1 month or so, 6 months or so. So they do not reserve for lifelong. They reserve for a small time whenever they require. That time this will not. They have like a private cloud. Federal agencies offer private clouds for sensitive information is involved. They also use public cloud to share databases and general public or other government departments. So these people also, whenever they required public opinions for something, they open a small part of the cloud for public for time. Otherwise, in private cloud, they use it for certain amount of time whenever they require. So this is the type of deployment models available. And now you'll see that the service models, the 3 types of models are available: infrastructure service, and a platform as service, and a software as service. We will see through this little definition on that. If your business needs a virtual machine, like for example, you are having a Windows server at your place and you want to use services like Linux service, you can have a virtual machine for Linux. It is available somewhere else, but only terminal available. So you can have infrastructure as a service. Now, once you have installed in Linux, but then everything you have to arrange, and you can use that platform only for this purpose. A platform as service, if you are a company require a platform for building software products, like certain this Android Studio or kind of thing. If you have Android development, so you can take this platform as a service. And in software as service, you need everything. If your business does not want to maintain any IT equipment, hardware, software, then choose software as a service. It is a more versatile. We will see through one example. Like it is a shop that prepares prepares a cake. So if you intend to prepare a cake at your home, so and cake and serve, so what are the resources you have to maintain at your home? And this color says that these are the resources you have to manage. You have to manage dining table, you have to manage butter, electricity, oven, cake pan, for cooking the cake, flour, wheat, flour, sugar, butter, eggs, etc. You have to manage all things at your premises if you have to develop this. Suppose you are using the model as infrastructure as a service. So buy and use the cake. So what you have to do? You don't have to buy flour, you don't have to sugar, you don't have to butter, eggs, etc. You just ready-made cake you get. Only thing the cake pan, you take the pan, cake pan for the items you have managed already. So you prepare the oven. These services you have to manage your own. A dining table, water, electricity, oven, cake pan. These things you have to manage this has to be managed by you. And these things other person will manage by vendor, that floor or these things the sub will be supplied by them. You don't have to keep inventory of them. You just buy and start work. If you have to manage the platform as service, like, so what you have to do, that you have to these all items you ask immediately from the vendor, and electricity, oven, etc. So they just prepare all these equipments and prepare the cake. You have to dining table and service, etc. You have to provide. So these things green one, this managed by the vendor, and this is managed by you. And when you software as a service, you manage all these things by the vendor. You just get the service. So software as a service means you have even the Excel sheet, etc. You can have. So for that, I have prepared the now. This is an example of cake preparation. I have these things I have replaced in software service means everything you have to manage. So I replaced by the cloud related things. So here you will find the difference between IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. That on premises now this is the cloud related terms, applications, data, runtime environment, middleware, operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, networking. All these things you have to manage here. And if you use infrastructure service, you have to manage applications, data, runtime, environment, middleware, operating system. You virtualization, servers, storage, networking, you can use the provided by vendor supplier. If you are using platform as service, even runtime, environment, and middleware is to be managed by vendor, not by you. You only need applications and data. Application softwares you have to use, like if you are using the Excel sheet or Word, etc. They have to be your own, not of the service supplier. If software service you are using, then everything will be managed by vendor. You have just to connect and you use the latest version of Excel, you use the latest version of Word, you pay for the time you are using the service. Everything is managed by the vendor. Software service you are trying to, if you are using from them. Naturally, the cost also of usage depends on the items you are using. Here, the management or for buying the systems cost is more, and here the usage cost only you have to pay. Everything is to buy is to be used whenever required. So these are the different types of services available from the cloud, and these are very common ones. And there are multiple variations in these services. These are the most popular and common services. And in our IIoT devices, we will use something else. These are for normal cloud computing services. There also some more specializations are there, that all things you don't have to manage. But in our applications or IIoT, it will be something else. We will use the edge computing related things. We will discuss whenever it comes. So IaaS usage, it's a IaaS product and services. They are used the Amazon EC2, Microsoft Azure, Go Grid. These are the examples available. IaaS is a cloud service that provided basic computing infrastructure. Only basic computing infrastructure it provides. Services are available, pay for what you use model. IaaS provides providers include Amazon Web Services and Amazon, Azure, and Google's compute engine they provide. And users are IT administrators. They know that how to manage, administer the services. That's why they use this model. And the platform as a service, PaaS products and services are the Amazon apps, Amazon Web Services apps, and Microsoft Azure also, Google App Engine, they also use these services. Platform provides cloud platforms and runtime environments for developing, testing, managing applications. It allows software developers to deploy applications without requiring all the related infrastructure. So this is useful for software developers. So their development platform they get and they develop the service and use, test, and then deploy. So this is the second model of cloud computing, and this is the software as service model. This is a complete set of services is available centrally through through cloud server, and this could be the Excel, this could be a mail, this could be the Google Drive, and all these services, Office 365, Google Apps. Software services, software as a service, cloud provides host to manage the software applications on a pay-as-you-go pricing model. All software and hardware are provided and managed by a vendor, so you don't have to maintain anything. normally end users and customers take this type of services. They do not want, they are just only for limited time managing, they are busy in other activities, only for limited time they use the service and pay for their usage. So that is the software as service product. So having done so, this cloud computing, we will see that how the cloud computing has emerged and what is the current status in 2021 and how they are being used. And earlier model of years we will see in the next slide, but here we see the earlier model, they were host computer standalone mode, they are working, and they were networked somewhere in 80s or 90s. So you can one host to another host, one place to another place, you could transfer the data like LAN you are managing within premises. 3-4 computers are available, they are connected each other, you can transfer the service from FTP or whatever the mode, and was available in the 80s to 90s. The internet has emerged in 90s, and then the web services, you can have the server maintaining the data and you can receive those services from one place to other place. So server and client based infrastructure is started and store at one place and share at multiple places. Of course, Google Drive kind of services, they emerge later. So the internet based connectivity is there. It is not limited to the premises or 3-4 rooms of house, or it is the laboratories or within the nearby geographical locations. They can remote distance their websites of companies or those information you can share. Then the era came through mobile computers, the mobile computing, where this web services can be availed or obtained, seen, used by mobile also. So of course the mobile based services, they require little adjustment. If you are on mobile, then there is some different screen, different pixel size and different resolutions you have to make, and whereas an host computer you can have different resolution and their web adjustment, all those things are there. So this extended to mobile devices. Then the era comes where the people also have started using the services. How the people, because you can immediately think that when a host computer is also being used by a human being, mobile is also being used by human being. So how this human being differently use these web services? Yes, they do differently use web services. There are biochips, they can be in the body, they are monitoring our temperature, they are monitoring our different things. Biochips, they can be installed in the body. So your body also, body wearables are there, they are connected through internet. Even the internet watch you can use. So through that you are connected through your doctors also. So this kind of services, connectivity through people, through biochips, this also became possible. So people can also join, host computer can also join, mobile can also join. So then we have moved in another interesting era where Internet of Things is possible. A device can be connected not only to mobile, not only to your not to people, not only to computers, but it can be connected to your car, it can be connected to your house, it can be connected to fridge or any other device of the house, and it can sense that now the summer season has come, now the AC cooler they becomes automatically on, or the car can automatically adjust for the speeds, fuel payment, or metering kind of services. So the devices are also connecting to each other, that my owner of house has started from here. You switch on the AC so that by the time owner enters in house, it is a cool house, so that one can coolly enter in our house. So devices also interacting, they are intelligent devices, and they join the internet, they have the intelligence is built in. So we have now entered in this era of Internet of Things, where internet, the things are connected, uh, through where the people can also be connected through wearable devices, the mobile can also be connected when they can just hear or watch. The host computer, it is a stationary located at one place, it is not mobile. There also you can see the devices are also connected, and they are also intelligently using the systems. So since you can install the computer on any device, you are traveling from anywhere, and anywhere you can use the services. The devices are also coordinating with you. Internet is available everywhere. So that we sometimes call the pervasive computing. We will see in this slide. Now the term has become changed from information technology to ICT. Information is not only available at one place, it is we communicated also. It has usefulness through internet, services are available. So communication is also equally important. So ICT model we call a personal ICT means it use personal computer alone and what you can share from there. So that was available in 1980s. In 85, there were distributed computing. Distributed computing means different lanes are available through internet. They were accessible through FTP or Telnet kind of services. These things were available, and the computers, you have to know the IP address of different computer. You can share information through LAN use locally in near not very far place. So that was available in 85 also. But web-based ICT, that is personal mobility in worldwide web-based internet connectivity appeared, it was in use in 1990 onwards. And once this has become popular, then grid-based IT. See, remember grid computing and cloud computing, they are different things. In grid computing, it was using a similar infrastructure as distributed ICT. In grid computing, there are multiple servers connected in grid and they are joining, but identity of individual computer is known to the user. User has to decide which of the system of the grid we have to use. That was a transparent utility model, which was very primitive for cloud computing. Whereas in cloud computing, it is not visible that which server you have, wherever it is available, whatever the size you require, everything is available. Whereas in grid computing, you find out this particular computer I'm using, and you are limited with the facilities available with that computer. You cannot use simultaneously either. You can choose which of them, but not elastic. It was not in nature. So grid-based ICT emerged in 1995, and mobile computing, they also became popular in 2000. Cellular mobile technology became appeared, and cloud-based service model, which is a handheld devices or thin client. You have very little intelligent, only the monitor you can have with a small amount of hardware, which is connectable through cloud. I don't need any infrastructure except that machine for connection and entering data, etc. But other, it is cloud-based computing. 2010 it appeared, and now in today's time it has appeared Internet of Thing and Industry 4.0 version, smart cities, this that. Pervasive computing. Pervasive means earlier there was a limitation that wherever a computer center you have, you can connect, or wherever mobile is moving from there, you can check. But nowadays, you can have the wearable devices with you. Nowadays, even within the machines, also you have intelligence. The machines also interacting. So you can, even on trees, you can install internet connectivity. Wherever your entire road is filled with the internet and connectivity, high-speed road. So pervasive means it is everywhere. It is available from wherever, even through device or through you can compute. So this is the era in 2020 we have entered in, and we'll see how it happens. So here it comes the IoT devices. You must have learned in this entire FTP IoT devices. Just for one slide, I would just discuss that the Internet of Things is the network of physical objects or things embedded with electronics, software, sensors, and network connectivity, which enables these objects to collect and exchange data. So now the things were there, items were there, they did not have any electronics or connectivity, they were working for their use. But now embedded, enclosed with a little electronics or software, sensors, network connectivity, they have become intelligent, and now they can, their status, they can exchange, communicate. Earlier what used to happen, For example, a lift maintenance company, if any lift goes bad, a person has to log on to either inform telephonically through website, complain, then person has to come and check, and then it things go down for a long time, and then you maintain, bring the parts, etc. Now with the electronic software and sensors are in place in the lift itself, you can plug in some IoT, these components embed. Whenever any little malfunctioning starts, this malfunctioning is immediately reported to the server, and based on that they can do predictive maintenance, don't have to change so big parts before the problem starts, that can be sorted out. So with very little damage, the maintenance can be done. IoT allows objects to be sensed and controlled remotely across existing network infrastructure, creating opportunities for more direct integration between the physical world and computer-based worlds. So resulting in improved efficiency, accuracy, and economic benefits. So once early management is allowed or possible, you can definitely manage this IoT infrastructure, these devices in better way. So how IoT works, these are the 4 minimum components in IoT to identify and track the data, some RFID kind of thing. This is one type of IoT, RFID kind of data device you can have, and a sensor to collect and process the data to detect the changes in the physical status of things. Earlier physical status was this, now this is, so it can detect the sensor. Smart technology to enhance the power of network by devolving processing capabilities to different part of the network. And when nanotechnology to have thinner or smaller components, that to make the things smaller and smaller, things have the ability to connect and interact. So these IoT devices are, this is the minimum technology any IoT device could have. Of course, along with the sensor, they might have actuator depending on the type of IoT is allowed. We will see the IoT evolution. The number of IoT nodes we had in 1990s, personal computing, microprocessors they had towards the development of the devices. In 2000, so wireless and wired communication technologies have emerged. Connection of places became possible through wireless technologies. So it became not limited to the certain places where you place the desktop and you can use there only. No, it is through wireless. You can use from different places also. In 2010, the low power applications have emerged, and microprocessors of low power have come up. Powerful microprocessors, they can be installed in embedded systems kind of things. So personal and infotainment and mobility became popular. The people to people connection became possible, and then information connectivity started in 2020. Now the industries have also started microcontrollers with integrated flash and analog systems, seamless wireless connectivity, sensors aggregation, low power. So the connection of things became possible. So these trends indicate the low power on advanced devices, on-chip micro power management techniques, lowest cost, BOM optimization, bill of material can optimization, small footprint, latest packaging technology with smaller sizes, it is possible. Security at each node, latest encryption protocols they can have, wireless connectivity, then plug and play standards have become possible. Increased intelligence at the edge. Now this is important that the devices have become more intelligent, and that's why we at edge level computing or edge computing will see fog computing that has become popular. More processing power with the microcontroller based monitor and control. So it is possible microcontroller based monitor and control. So a better maintenance of the system, better manageability is possible. So we now this system in 2020 with this all devices, things are now participating in computing. Earlier only the devices, wearable devices, human control was there. Now it is possible to things item to item communication, devices to device communication, intelligently behaving devices to device communication, or intelligent approach or working of communication. So this has enabled us pervasive computing. Anywhere, wherever you are going, you can have this computing model. So having done so, now what is the IT ecosystem and how the things work? If people are using the devices like a handband or any device, they are smart, wearable devices they can use. Whereas devices can have smart things, the car, house, fridge, etc. They all are intelligent devices. Both of them have sensors. This information is going to the intermediary or communication and processing devices. These devices maintain or have processed the information obtained collected through sensors, and this information goes to cloud. Cloud, based on its database archive or connectivity, they retain the record, they access this device from the cloud can be using the received information, using the information already available in data archive, they perform the real-time processing. Real-time means somewhere you have to immediately respond, timely response, isn't it? So if it is a context discovery, means context is such that you have to immediately respond. You perform visualization, presentation, you can see, and you can perform this task 24/7, 24/7, and you can send the information back and to the devices, and it can immediately work. So in the ecosystem, device ecosystems, that you have to manage devices, sensors, actuators, smart appliances, network services providers, the operators, network management software providers, you have to manage this. Cloud services providers, they maintain data centers, database devices, data warehouses. Platform providers, the middleware provides SDK, and they manage or identify context dependent solution they provide. Third party applications, they business analytics kind of things, tools, API they provide. So what are the things who has to do? This cloud service provider is one independent part. They manage data centers, database, and they provide their own services. Whereas these are available, the IoT devices. IoT devices are equipped with these services, applications equipped with these services. So app developer, IoT developers, and cloud providers, there are three main players in the system, and they have to in coordination develop the devices, develop the software, maintain the databases. Then this entire ecosystem will work. Let us take an example in General Electric company. They deploy sensors in jet engine, turbines, and wind farms. This is one of the wind farms. By analyzing data in real time, GE saves money, time, and money associated with predictive maintenance. This predictive maintenance means this is the IoT device, and this is available with a wind farm, and there the predictive machine system analytics. This is the enterprise system external data, and that is available to this device. Now a device is installed here, so there can be two things here. A device is installed and it is just measuring, monitoring the parameters and sending to the predictive machines, and this machine details are available in the cloud server. And alternatively, if a nanotechnology based machine, they can have this intelligence maintenance at lower level, then they have to send less amount of data to cloud. Cloud is the only solution, because the IoT systems, they will be sending a huge amount of data. Earlier data was small, whatever the persons are using, but the huge amount of data they are sending devices. So you need a system that manages, can manage a huge amount of data. Elastic model. Elastic model means whatever the amount of data space required, that should be available. But here comes another interesting part. that this data either sensor just continuously taking a snapshot, a photograph, or sensing the things, the temperature or so, continuously sending a cloud services. Cloud services are maintaining, getting huge amount of data through internet connectivity or high bandwidth they are using, and then they assess, analyze data and do all those things. Another important part, shouldn't a in device become intelligence? Only thing is that based every time data need not send, only whenever services or things are required, they will be sent to cloud devices. Okay, this is important data, please maintain and act accordingly, then cloud can take the data. So that is where you see that edge computing will come, that intelligence is now in sensor. So IoT device is, this is the IoT device which can be a just sensing device or could be intelligent device, sending data to the cloud services. The predicts cloud means it has started monitoring the voice of the devices are changing little. There could be some start of malfunctioning. You can correct at this stage predictively. So with less amount of expenses, you can easily manage, or you wait till really the system goes down and then a huge amount of maintenance cost you pay. So the predictive maintenance, this cloud maintains the end-to-end security, provides these services to this. Devices can be IoT or IIoT that we'll see for Industry 4.0 version. And now these applications, user interface, mobile applications, and this one person can see and check what I am getting. So these devices, the applications are also available in cloud service. So this is how this is managed. The intelligence here, how much intelligence we will have. Earlier, the devices in houses, fridge manage, connecting to fridge or connecting to various devices just to know the status. But now, for maintenance purpose, you need industry standard. So now, this we can say that these are RFID tags, RFID antenna, readers. These are the minimum devices one can have. These are the middleware softwares where managed devices collect, integrate data, etc. These are the applications where internal data is such as enterprise, resource planning, customer relations management, warehouse management, and kind of things. Applications we have, and this provides a pervasive network. Because of these RFID anywhere, like even if you find RFID tag on various animals, they are traceable wherever they are. So pervasive computing means from anywhere you can identify the location or use these services. So it has become possible through IoT devices. We'll see in an example an IoT application scenario where a person goes for shopping in the shopping market cell. So when entering the door, a scanner will identify you that you are having wearable device. They know you are so and so customer. You are already having your identity is this, the tag on her clothing. On clothing tag, they read that this is our genuine customer. We allow that door will open, the door will scan, open the door, and you can enter in. So then when shopping in the market, the will introduce themselves, their intelligent goods that I am so the device like the I am detergent safe so and for company, and I am this. They can introduce themselves. They are tagged or the voice intelligent IoT device. They can speak from wherever you are passing. The goods are speaking that I am so and so. So when shopping the market, goods will introduce themselves. Then when moving the goods, the reader will tell the staff to put the new one. Whenever you remove the goods, you put in your basket, the place will automatically inform that so and so goods has been picked up by a customer. You replace new good because another customer will be coming, and that time this goods will be available. And then when paying the goods, the microchip of the credit card will communicate with the checkout reader. The checkout reader will read the devices only. Just you have to one fingerprint you have to give, then it's really acceptance, and entire money will be debited from your credit card. You don't have to wait and do things. Your intelligent basket will tell that these are the items are in basket, and willing, etc. You won't take any time. So that is where the IoT applications or scenario will be in place whenever this full-fledged marketing system is developed. This is one example. Now, in industrial revolution also, there are 4 stages in industries has come up. There is a first mechanical, water, power, steam power, etc. devices were there. These are one kind of machines we have. So totally in first generation of industry, there were only mechanical components what we use. In second generation, there are mass production assembly line through electricity usage. It was possible in second generation. So mass production became a feasibility. So big industrial houses through uses of electricity, they started using this. Then in computer, third generation, computer and automation became possible. ICT devices. So here enters ICT, and this third generation devices became intelligent, and here computer and automation became come in place, and the devices are accordingly using these benefits. And now fourth generation, the cyber physical systems have become a reality. So the devices are IoT based, they are wireless based communication, intelligently moving this or not. They are sensing the shipping the item from one place to another place. They are checking whether place is available from this place to other place, and they can move the devices. So intelligence also has come in IoT devices. So this is the era, fourth generation, where industry 4.0 we are using with intelligence devices. So if cloud and IoT joins the hand, COT kind of devices or COT becomes possible, cloud on Internet of Services. So these are complementary to each other, complementary between IoT and cloud. IoT is pervasive, things everywhere. You can place the sensing device wherever you want in pervasive manner, or where from where you want any communication, sensing information, or whatever you want. Whereas cloud is ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means resources are usable from anywhere. This is also from anywhere. But here the uses of here you are placing the things. So pervasive ubiquitous becomes pervasive computing. So it is become computing resources from cloud and pervasively used through IoT devices. So these are complementary to each other. Once one join the other, this become a complete thing. IoT devices are real world things, and cloud resources are virtual resources. They can be made available at the devices. IoT device is limited in computational capabilities. Their computation capabilities cannot be that big. They are increasing, but that cannot be equivalent to whatever is available in cloud, because they have more information. IoT will be working on one device, but multiple such devices, information come to the cloud. They can make a complete joint decision. So limited computational capability, IoT have, cloud has virtually unlimited computational capabilities. It can be extended, it can be elastic, a large number of nodes can join. So this is virtually unlimited. IoT devices have limited storage or no storage capabilities virtually. Either have very limited or no. Or cloud has virtually unlimited storage capabilities. Internet as a point of convergence. So internet is just want to cover this particular place in IoT device has its internet for coverage of the things. And here the cloud is internet for service delivery. So the service from this place to anywhere you can deliver the service. IoT is a big data source. Even though it has a very small storage capability, it is continuously sensing the data, immediately sending to cloud. So it is a big data source. And cloud is a means to manage the big data. You can manage the big data. So you'll find these are complementary, and if they both of them joins the hand, they can do wonders. Plus, cloud provides service-oriented abstractions, because you just provide one application user interface or one interface. Person doesn't know which of the cloud server my things are stored. They are available to the user through API. So service abstraction is there, where the items, where the things are working. abstractions for the complex underlying hardware and software through a set of services needed by different applications, offer high flexibility when new and advanced functions need to be added. So they offer very high flexibility. Services can be designed, implemented, integrated in a flexible and easy way. For new application development, you can deploy and you can make it available in new flexible way. So seamless integration is there, and these cloud devices. So if both of them join hands, a revolution in industry can happen. So now with the emergence of COT, cloud on internet or IoT devices, there are new services or new service models have emerged depending on the type you require. So everything as a service, SaaS, is also acronym that in cloud these services will be available. SaaS is one thing as a service. Now one item, one thing is available which is working in which is intelligent by having intelligent IoT device can work as a service that okay, so and so place my temperature monitoring, my so and so things are available, my wireless sensors are available from there. I want this weather information, I want this some other war field type information, whether explosives are there around, some person's movement is there, some manuals are there for security purpose. So thing as a service, things you have deployed, they are not human being, their life is not at danger. So with the less amount, they are continuously things are providing, aggregating and abstracting heterogeneous resources according to Taylor, things like semantics. So things are installed by some company, they can be used by others. Now, SNAS or S2AS, sensing as a service is one important thing that we are not interested in what are the things available there. We do not want to hire only the sensing data, public providing ubiquitous access to sensor data. So sensing data only we are interested to provide data, and sensing and actuation the device you have installed. So we do not only sense, we also order. For example, temperature control. It doesn't only sense the temperature of the device. If temperature is very high, you order, then you reduce the temperature, you cool down the, you increase start the cooling devices. So actuation is also there, enabling automatic control logics implemented in. So this is also possible. Now sensor event as a service, SEAAS. Sometimes we do not want the huge amount of data. Continuous monitoring the temperature and sending is of no use. Whenever temperature goes below this range or above this range, only then you inform me. Not every time. Don't send every time data. So dispatching, messaging, sensing triggered by sensor event. Some sensor event has happened that you have started cooling, you have started heating, that kind of services you are changing, then only inform that these are the events occurring at the sensor or actuator's level. So only those event information you provide, that is also available as a service through these sensors. Then sensor as a service. See, remember the sensing as a service means it is provides ubiquitous data, enabling ubiquitous management of remote sensor. So sensor as a service means, now sensing as a service means you provide only data offline, not real time, not immediately. You have collected the data for past 1 year, you provide me for research purpose, for education. But sensor as a service means you are sensing, not only sensing but ordering or sensor information of right now certain real time data you have to provide, and there I am allowed to manage my sensors also. Okay, so deploy more sensors, reduce more sensors, use the service, you do not use service. So these are the varieties of services have become available with the increasing the IIoT in place in the system. These are the industry related. Earlier sensors were there only inform the devices, switch on this device, switch off these devices, or house based devices. But in industry, you have to travel the vehicle, warehouse movement of the goods from this place to that place availability, everything as a service. So industry 4.0 IIoT has to be more powerful industry ready IIoT. So anyway, sensing as a service, as we have seen, is very important. On demand, the selection and establishment of IoT sensing services. Here we can see Open IoT is one platform where it is available at European Union. So this IoT service, they are sending sensing as a service request, service utility maintenance, or ये Open IoT they perform the services here. So initiate services, do all this work, and then provide these details. So sensing as a service from this entire cloud, this information, they utility access, virtualized world, here Open IoT, real physical world. So these three information can be shared through this Open IoT, hinges on the local dependent nature of IoT resources, dynamic selection of sensors and devices used to deliver the services. Okay, I want services of this sensor from this place, from this side, by selection also, okay, this particular part. For example, step one, this has order only this particular part, these devices, services I want. So only this service will be provided, and only payment money will be charged for this, isn't it? IoT and utility computing convergence. The IoT devices and utility based computing, they are now converging with this. These services become available. So now, IoT cloud, they have certain difficulty also in implementation. Implementation means these things are new in 2020. They have become more popular, even though the development continuously take place, but at certain level development has come, then only we will say this has become now available. So it has recently become available. So now, waste of bandwidth. This is a limitation of IoT cloud integration. So solution also has come for that. Not all IoT data need to be stored in cloud. As I said earlier, the sensor is collecting data. Whether every time continuous temperature monitoring and sending is required, it takes a lot of bandwidth in sending data. Entire temperature, every fraction of second collected temperature is of no use. So, but this data has to be sent, or if this data is being sent, it consumes a lot of bandwidth, huge amount of data at the server. So waste of bandwidth, especially in large scale applications. So a large number of IoT are in place, then this huge data or bandwidth will be wasted. Can we reduce that? This is one of the limitations. If you have IoT device with almost no intelligence in it. Network latency, interactions with cloud are not net efficient. So cloud to IoT, because cloud may be intelligent in services, but the IoT devices may not be. They are just continuously blasting data. They cannot, IoT devices cannot store data or big data at their place. So they have to just send. The moment they get, they send blast data. Can be problem for real-time applications. So in real time, this will be a big applications that monitor and continuous actuators, hard, huge amount of data. How can we manage? Solution is there, of course. Inefficient use of storage. Information with limited or zero business value is stored. Every time temperature measurement is of no use. If it is beyond the limits, then only it is of use. So it has no business information, no usefulness of that data. Typical example, sensor data that does not change frequently, such as temperature information, that is of no use. So if you keep storing that data, it will be inefficient use of storage. Limited flexibility to address privacy and data protection. So all data is stored in the cloud. No way to isolate private or personal data. It's a huge data, and we cannot isolate, and we cannot this huge data. So we have to have a proper security, but it is possible only if you reduce the data amount. Data away from user, not ideal for applications. this data is away from users. It is not ideal for applications and not involving mobility and large scale deployment. If a large scale deployment is there and that too it changes their locations. So this is not ideal. The frequent movement of vehicles managed through GPS and every time data use storage. You say no, storage. So that is also a very difficult task. Higher latency may cost the movement of vehicle if it is to be traced. Then in cloud has to trace the trajectory and then only it can decide. So it will be not only storage of data, but it will be a huge computing also required at the IoT cloud level. So that is also one difficulty level in IoT cloud integration. So here is the answer to some of the problems. What we call edge computing. Move IoT data processing and actuation to the edge of the network. Very, very important data. And today's a layer of gateways, edge nodes between cloud and IoT devices. A edge node or intelligent computing, if you provide at the edge itself or IoT device itself, so that device itself is able to take local decision and inform the cloud, so that a big picture or combined decision of multiple such nodes can be taken at cloud level. So it is possible to incorporate computing or at the edge level or the IoT device level, then very little amount of data need to be sent or important data for having business value that can be sent to the cloud. And since this really different small dots of these IoT devices, so we can also call it fog computing or edge computing. At the node or at the end usage, we are able to computing, identifying the if data or event is useful or whatever is desired that has been sent to IoT or cloud device, then only it can save the bandwidth and where a good amount of benefit we can make and make the cloud feasible. Edge node types. And deployment, we can have nature of the deployment of depends on the edge node intelligence. Embed the controller or IoT devices with the processing capability, computers, clusters, or small scale data centers. So this is also possible that it within a nearby row, so many devices are there, similar type of IoT devices there. Maybe locally some computers you put on so that they can provide the IoT devices, computing services, or maybe you can install with the devices if it is space permits this computing at the edge level, means decentralized computing and store the data which is of business value. So we can get benefit reduced latency for real-time applications, efficient use of bandwidth and storage resources, improved scalability, reduction in cost and energy consumption, better privacy control. So these benefits we can have through edge computing. So this has emerged now new discipline and can be in place very soon. So edge computing concept is now customization, scalability, these are the benefits. And technology, these are IoT applications number one, and centralized cloud, IoT application two, IoT middleware, or edge computing based system. There is a centralized system. This is the edge computing based system. Here cloud is there, IT applications there, but middleware and edge services, they are available. They have been deployed at the nearby IoT devices or along with IoT devices. So there is a less communication. There is a edge computing they have deployed at these places. they are managing the things. So with the IoT functionalities, edge node, edge IoT functionalities are filtering and reduction data, reaction and actuation control. If the decision of temperature controlling there, let it be taken at edge level, caching for fast access and reuse. So at local level, if you provide some storage, you can cache in, or the same scenario is repeating multiple times, you can store, and you don't have to, you can reuse that data for further research purposes also. So that's the edge IoT functionalities are there. Typical example of edge IoT deployment, mobile applications involving fast moving objects. So here it was a tracing the trajectory was a difficult task, and at the local level, this tracing everything is done. Only thing is that a small amount of data is being sent. Now collecting data or communication much is not required. Required easy connected vehicles, autonomous cars, or connected rails, etc. Those information become available. Require interfacing of moving devices, objects to local resources. So interfacing of moving devices, objects, resources, computing, storage, etc. They can be managed. Large scale distributed control system, a small grid, connected rails, small traffic light systems locally, they can be connected to large scale, combined geo distributed properties and real-time applications. Edge computing enables them to deal with scalability and latency issues. Simple concept is their basic, that less amount of data to transfer, so bandwidth usage, and the useful data only is transferred from one place to another place. Whatever is locally less important data is absorbed or removed. Whatever the local decisions can be allowed, they can be taken. So distributed multi-user application with privacy and limitation, need for fine-grained privacy control, such as processing of personal data, decentralization of storage management of private data to various edge services. Private data, of course, can be retained there. No risk in transferring, aggregating, and processing all private data set at centralized cloud. So private local data need not be sent to centralized cloud. Users have better and isolated control over their private data. So at nutshell, we can say that edge IoT is to become a reality. So now IoTification and cloudification, two things are very important to in new generation of industry. Today there is an ongoing hype to IoTify everything by embedding a sensor that is connected to a network in that thing. Cost of sensors have come down. Cost of processing is normal. Wireless connectivity is easily available. And how to manage so much IoTification? Really, cloud is the only answer. So through cloud only you can manage this IoTification. Huge amount of data will be there. Even if you intelligent IIoT you install, then also the amount of data at the cloud will be very big. So this can be managed by only cloud, not by small PC or a small device, not shareable at from one place. So this is one of the use case. This is a shipyard where a lot of containers, they are coming and going in the device. If one container goes missing, humanly it is impossible to trace. They have almost a similar color because packaging system is such that through these devices you have to have this color coding also. And missing container tracing is a horrible thing in such a shipyard or busy shipyards or ships. It is not possible. But IoT device is proper tagging. It is possible to trace out this is the container which is misplaced from this place to that place. Even if we through airport when we travel, so the belt, whatever the luggage we pick up, that also can be traced where or luggage is in place or is there or someone has taken away or not. So that kind of applications, these devices, these IoT are very, very useful. And Amazon has already implemented COT using AWS, Amazon Web Services, and IoT devices. So there no lines, no checkout, no seriously, but the devices are being managed through cloud, and it is very easy for anyone to manage any system. So now with this, these are some of the references I have used in these services. Of course, some of the slides I have taken from other users, which was convenient, customized accordingly. And if you are interested, some of the books on IoT, Internet of Things, so these are available. If you need, I can share with these people, the institute. And these are some of the books on cloud you can refer. So uh, thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing, and I could deliver something what I had. I would be happy if you have any question. So I would be happy to answer if I can. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir,
Hello.
for such a wonderful session. Uh, Sir, there are some questions, sir, that are coming.
Yes, sure.
So the first question is, which
Hmm.
scripting language is easy and preferred to develop a cloud application?
Uh, in fact, there are multiple nowadays. There is the platforms are available where this because it is a very variety of languages are available. So separate applications require separate languages. So in a specific domain, that language, because it has to be very user friendly. So specific sensing purposes, different language, and for this other applications, there are different languages are available. So it cannot be, it is not easy to say that this language will be easy for this application. And that too, they have developed different clouds, they have different language. So if one can test a particular cloud, then we can have those language. No. Hello?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much, sir. So I think this question was from Mr. Ravindra, so that you have already explained, sir. Uh,
Yes.
so let me, so as there are no more questions, so let me propose a formal vote of thanks to you, sir.
So,
So on behalf of the FDP team and SKIT family, I extend my sincere thanks to our esteemed guest, Professor S.C. Jain, sir, from Rajasthan Technical University, Kota, for sparing time from his busy schedule to grace the session. So today we had an opportunity to hear your expertise in the field of cloud computing in IoT, and this will definitely put motivation in research work for a number of participants. So we are grateful to you for explaining the cloud computing. Why is it preferred over online premise? What is the application programming interface? What are the deployment and service model? Difference between PRs, PaaS, and SaaS. And we had an extremely useful session. We have learned a great deal, and we are very indebted to you. You have also explained what is IoT, IoT ecosystem and its elements, IoT application through a shopping example. That was very good, sir. And complementarity between IoT and cloud computing, limitations to the IoT cloud integration, edge computing, and edge IoT deployment. So all these topics are explained in a very lucid manner. So your insights are very useful to us. Thank you, sir, for giving your precious time from your busy schedule and sharing the bundle of knowledge with us. So
so
I also extend my
thanks.
sincere thanks to all the participants for attending the session and showing the interest. Now I request all the panelists to switch on their camera for a session photograph. Can we have I just switch on the cameras?
Taken, sir.
Taken the code. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you, thank you.
Now, so thank you all the participants, and we look forward to your kind presence in tomorrow's session that will be at 9 a.m.
ठीक है अचिन सर, आई थिंक और कोई तो है नहीं यहाँ पर है
हाँ सर, ठीक है ना?
ना, तो फिर अब एंड कर देते हैं इवेंट को, है ना?
हाँ हाँ, एंड कर देते हैं कल मॉर्निंग। ठीक है सर, थैंक यू।
ठीक है, ठीक, ओके।